And then just post pandemic, we saw, I think there was all the pent up demand which was there, and the whole world was relocating after. So suddenly the business grew post pandemic. And yes, even a lot of HR leaders were looking out for solutions which are digital. Not just HRs, in fact, there was a huge enthusiasm in admin and facility leaders, largely who were also involved in managing relocations. And that's where we saw definitely the demand going up. That's one. But more than COVID, otherwise also, like with job switch frequency going 3x as compared to earlier, relocations are only bound to happen more. So that there's a growing market for us, and that's how I think we are only trying to make best use of the current demand and how the market reacts to it now.
Hi, welcome to the Digital Vigyaan podcast. Vigyan is a Sanskrit term for science, and that's precisely what this podcast is all about, the science behind digital marketing. I'm your host, Dronacharya Dave, and I'm here to speak with experts from different domains of digital marketing as well as industry segments and learn their opinion on the ever changing landscape of digital marketing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Digital Vigyaan. In this week's episode, I spoke to Ajay Tiwari, co founder and CEO of Happy Locate, a relocation as a service based firm. Ajay comes from a strong HR background and have managed employee relocation operations throughout his career. For this podcast, I was interested in understanding what role digital marketing plays in the logistics industry and was astonished to learn some really insightful facts about the same from Ajay. If you're a digital marketing professional working in this industry, this podcast can help you unlock some really useful tips to run your next successful campaign. Here's how the conversation unfolded.
Hi Ajay, welcome to the Digital Vigyaan podcast.
Thanks for having me, Dabe. Thanks.
Yeah. So to start with, Ajay, I would like to get an understanding for myself also and for the listeners of this podcast uh, about the about your background uh, and the background of Happy Locate in the manner that I understand that your experience largely lies in in the field of HR.
Yeah.
Uh, but if you look at Happy Locate, it's the core of this firm is basically relocation services, a comprehensive logistic service provider with relocation services, in its core. So what I wanted to start with and what I wanted to understand from you is what was the idea behind the entire concept of Happy Locate and why logistics from HR?
Great. I would love to talk about it, in fact. So I come from a absolute HR background. If I call HR largely recruitment, to be more specific. And I've spent good 13 years in HR. I've worked with companies like Vodafone and Nokia. In my last role, I was managing pan-India recruitments for Nokia along with a counterpart of mine. Um, and then, if you also look at, I've relocated good 7 times in my career, along with my co-founder. Uh, while I have understood the pain point of what it takes for a user to relocate, I've also managed thousands of employee relocations being in HR. Now, that's exactly where I got to understand and realize myself that the pain was not just limited to the end user or the employee who is actually relocating, but to the enterprises also who are facilitating relocations to their employees. Because there's a lot of productivity that goes in question. There's a lot of discomfort and stress during relocation that one goes through. And at the same time, it's very manually managed by these larger enterprises. So there are a lot of inefficiencies, including your cooked up claims, inflated claims, the on ground experience, finding a right packer mover. All those challenges are there, which I realized. And hence, I understood that this is the problem to solve where there are multiple stakeholders, not just the user, which is the employee, what I call, but also the enterprises who are largely paying for those relocations. Hence,
Right.
I jumped into solving this relocation, which also has logistics as a part of it. So that's the angle from where it came from.
Okay. Right. Uh, so like how would, like, if we look at Happy Locate as a as an enterprise altogether, as an entity, uh, I mean it can, I mean from my, if I have to look at it, it can fall under both the category industry categories, which is, it can be it can be termed as a B2B segment, service segment, or it can be termed as a B2C segment, service segment also. But is that a correct assessment, or like where does it fall under basically? Is it
Right. So you
purely
got
B2B or
sure.
yeah?
You got it right. The way at least you were heading in the right direction. Uh, Let me give you a picture. So apparently we have the flexibility to manage both retail and enterprise triggered customers.
Okay.
However, we are a B2B focused model. As I said, my vision and my perspective of how I looked at this problem was from an enterprise side. And hence, what we built was an enterprise solution for larger corporates to automate and manage their end to end employee relocations. So, what it does today, it is in fact Asia's first enterprise SaaS for employee relocation management. It actually makes the job of an HR and admin absolutely simple. In short, no matter how complex is a company's relocation policy, it can actually be automated in 45 to 50 minutes of time. It's a very plug and play kind of a system. And then it becomes a self booking platform for employees where they can come, they can book multiple services. The SaaS will make sure that these employees are booking services within their eligibilities and within the company process and policies. Hence, in to sum it up, we ensure policy compliant bookings. We also ensure that HR and admin is not manually involved, but quotations are getting generated by default on the system. Employees are able to come and book multiple services, and then we have a escalation support. We have a ticketing system through which we manage escalations. Is that makes the job hassle free for anybody who's relocating. So that's the beauty of this. So we are a B2B focused, but we also have the flexibility to manage B2C or a retail customers coming directly on my platform to book these services. That's how it goes.
Right, because when I was going through the website just to do some, background check and some, preparing some material for the podcast, I saw that the list of services that Happy Locate provides is really, it extends to a large bit. It not just includes, relocation services for corporates, but also for, any on a personal level, if someone is looking to, let's say, uh, taking a transfer from one city to another city, from even from north to south or east to west. You provide logistic services, packaging and packers and mover services, sort of over there as well. So that's why I thought, I'll, because uh, as we'll move forward in this podcast, and we'll move to the core of the podcast, which is digital marketing, right? It depends a lot, when it comes to digital marketing. It depends a lot on the kind of industry space the an entity falls under, because when it comes to B2B, the kind of strategy, the kind of campaigning, the kind of entire branding that comes into the picture, that
Yes,
differs when it comes to B2B and B2C. So I can only imagine when it caters to both the segments, how critical, or how complicated it can be. And I'm really looking forward to understand how you have managed to
would love to.
actually, you know, bring Happy Locate to the level it is at today, with catering to both the industries.
Would love to talk
So
about it.
yeah, so I'll straight away now come to the core part of our conversation today. Uh, where does digital marketing lies on the priority scale for Happy Locate's business model?
Um, let me tell you how this industry has been working so far, and probably that will help you and the listeners, and it will give them a perspective of how this industry has been using digital marketing to its advantage. So largely, relocation players, if you see the packers movers largely, they've been using digital marketing for lead generation. They would they would do some paid ads, they would do some Google campaigns, and they will generate leads. I think this is how it has been limited to. Uh,
Right.
that's why if you see, if somebody is relocating, especially talk about millennials, there has been a lot of misinformation or no information available as to how to move, what to see, what not to see, how to find a right mover, etc., etc., etc. So it is, I think, anyone who's looking for a relocation, all that you would do is go on Google or Just Talent and type the best packers movers, and then you get the laundry list. So that's how this industry has been using digital marketing in a very, very, very limited way. Now when we came into this, we understood the industry, and that's where Happy Locate came into picture. This industry is fragmented. Uh, there are a lot of small players. There are the duplicity is at its peak. If you just type Agrawal Packers, you'll get some 40 Agrawal Packers. It's very difficult for you to make out which one is the actual one. So a lot of such problems. It's very difficult to find a reliable packer mover and other players. One. Second, also when you book multiple relocation services like your household relocation, your handyman services, which will be involved post relocation, your house search assistance, your school search assistance, you have to hop on multiple platforms. That's exactly where we came up with Happy Locate, which is a single stop platform for relocation. Now, so understanding the industry is important, and that is where the relevance of how we used digital marketing would come into play. Uh, Now, when we understood this, I think the very first thing that we wanted to do is not lead generation, but education. So we started using channels, and again, our larger focus initially was corporate, considering this is how we wanted to acquire our customers. We wanted to touch base with the corporate and then ask them to automate their entire relocation management and manage it through Happy Locate. So that's how we started. So we started educating people, and a lot of digital marketing that we have done since then is around blogs that we have written, around email campaigns, around WhatsApp notifications that we have sent to people, educating them on how to find the right package mover, what to see in a move when you're booking, what should be an ideal price, etc., etc. This is how we've educated. And hence, I think from our side, we worked a little bit on the Google side, which we also used our SEOs. But moreover, it was blogs, it was emails, it was also webinars through which we started educating people, and that's where the word of mouth uh, got created. We also empaneled a lot of corporates through which there was this consistency and stickiness in the business of how employees started relocating from those corporates. So that's how uh, we've used digital marketing for more educating, for awareness to people, than just lead generation. And it has grown organically. Organically is where we've seen much growth in our industry.
Right. So I mean, what I understand is the focus for Happy Locate has, when it comes to utilizing digital marketing, has largely been on the organic side of it, and the emphasis has been on creating a good customer experience and creating a better, managing its ORM strategies, basically.
Absolutely, we've been very strong on that side. In fact, we have spoken more about the experience. We have consistently published, what our customers had to speak about it. Not just that, but also this industry, if you also understand, it has been very manually managed even on the operation side. So you will have somebody calling me, "Ha, sir, this is how it is." We try to bring method to madness. We try to bring technology into play so that we can manage most of these experiences and then talk about it. So we first came up with the self-booking platform. Today, it is the fastest four-step self-booking platform where you can come. You just select your BHK, you enter, you change the inventory if there are any. Otherwise, by default, inventory will come up as per your 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK selection. You will get instant quote on the system. You do not have to wait for 24 to 48 hours to get a pre-move survey done, etc. And then you can also book handyman services just over clicks. You'll get the price incorporated in that, you make the payment, and then the entire journey is taken care by technology. So out here, we brought that kind of transparency. We brought that kind of speed in how people were booking these services. We also brought transparency in the price. Somebody was earlier like, if you just go on Google and pick up any packer mover, somebody will quote you 40,000 rupees. I'm taking hypothetically. For a move, somebody will quote a 60,000, somebody will quote 80,000 for the same move. And you will wonder as to where is this pricing difference coming from. Now, this is exactly where we brought transparency, we brought pricing algorithms into play. We coded it, and we through this product, through technology, we gave this transparency to people where people can get instant pricing and they can book these services. They also get to see as to how is this price coming in. They get to see what are the services and what are the facilities available. So a lot of transparency in communication was how we connected with our customers. That's exactly where what we did in the relocation industry, and that has worked for us. That's how we could. Otherwise, till now, it was only a lead generation game, which has been going on in this industry largely.
Right. So you mentioned, bringing transparency through, providing different set of information, or those algorithms that have been used on the platform. So uh, that actually brings me to my next question. That so to see, to be like, we all are, looking at a massive transformation, if I say so, in the digital marketing, or not just digital marketing, I would say, but the entire internet arena, in the form of uh, AI and automation, right? Different technologies, different products, different tools, for and for whether it is a product based company, whether it is a service based company, everybody is right now trying to uh, make use of some or the other
Absolutely.
piece of this technology, which is transforming every week, I would say, not even month, but every week. So when you say that, we make sure that our customers have that kind of uh, ease of accessibility and transparency, so we have things integrated to our system. So I on that thing, I wanted to understand that, has Happy Locate also integrated any AI tool to its operation, maybe for let's say tracking, any tracking tool or a schedule manager or any
We
campaign you're
definitely have,
running?
we definitely have done quite a few. In fact, if I start with the beginning, we've done a lot. In fact, no, I do call when I talk to people and my investors. I do tell them that the last 9 to 10 months in Happy Locate was all about automation and technology. We were automating almost every, I would not call it every still, but almost every feasible scope of automation is what we exploited in the last 10 months, 12 months. So if I quickly start, when we start interacting with the customer, that's the sales point. And I would take retail separately and I would take B2B separately. On the retail side
Right.
and the B2B side, when we are interacting with customers, we use cloud telephony. to reduce FRTs, which is your first response time with a customer. That's how we look at the experience side, number one. Number two, we also have Fresh Desk for escalation management. It also has a ticketing system of how we ensure our turnaround time while we are resolving any escalation. That is two. So these are things, while these are quite prevalent, but in this industry, these were things that were adding value to this. Two, also, if you look at the B2B side, we use HubSpot to manage the sales
Okay.
funnel. So these are tools largely that we are using while we are managing, and then we have also integrated our platform with live tracking tools. So again, I would say HappyLocate is the first one to come up with live tracking in a relocation industry. While logistics, it was there anyways, but relocation per se, we are the first to come with live tracking and giving in transit updates to customers real time. So those were things that we have got in. We are recently doing an integration where there is something called driver monitoring system, where it also looks at whether if the driver is feeling sleepy or if there is any facial disturbances, is where the system alarms and makes sure that there are just to enhance this safety and security of the driver. A lot of these things is what we are bringing in the relocation space, so that the entire ecosystem can be benefited and that converts into an experience. That's how these are the tools largely that we're using.
Right. So, do you think, like, because you've been in this domain for nearly 2 decades now, right? So you've seen how things operate in this domain in the field of uh, not just the HR department, but also the entire logistics angle of it, right?
Yes.
Uh, so you've seen I'm assuming that you've seen this so-called transformation in this industry, that has happened in over the period of 10, 15 years, right? So do you think that this all these automation tools and the kind of technology that is integrating with the operations in this domain have actually transformed this industry, logistics industry, in these years?
So let me talk some data points. Uh, we did a survey initially with a lot of partners as well as clients, and we got some figures out of it. We understood that the generally the damage free relocations, if you look at in the industrial trend, it has been 63%. That means 37% has been your damages as a trend. Delay trend, if you see industry trend, is more than 50%. Now, if you look at thefts, there are more than 17,000 cases of thefts which are registered every year, which are registered, and there are many which are not registered. Now, that's the reality of the industry, which is still there. Now, Happy Locate was the first to come up, understand, and look at these inefficiencies and look at these pain points as opportunities to solve. And hence, we started working. So, I would still say, if you talk about the industry largely, I think there's still a lot of transformation needed. Happy Look, it has only taken the first step towards it. It has taken quite long. It's been almost 7 years to us that we have been in the industry, and we've relocated successfully. In fact, if you look at our trains as compared to the industry trend, our damage-free relocations are 96%, our delay-free relocations are 98%, which is way superior than the industry trend. These are things, these are a few things that we've been able to do because of our tech-driven operational control that we have on the ground. So I would say we've taken a step. It is going in that direction. There is a lot to do because if you just ask me, it took me 2.5 years to first educate my vendors or partners on the ground to use the tool. They were not ready to use the tool. So a lot of, I think I could only give example other than when I was asked by a lot of investors is what Amazon went through, when they were trying to set up e-commerce as an industry. is what we had to do when we were trying to build a space for relocation, automation or relocation transformation. So that's how the journey has been. But now I think the adoption of technology has fairly taken a shape. We can see that turning into an experience now with the numbers that I can definitely talk about. So it has happened. Happy Locate has taken, in fact, we call ourselves world's most customer-centric relocation management solution, only from a data perspective, because that's what the data has to talk about it. We track every micro stage of operations. So you can visualize me like an Uber of a relocation. I track every stage of relocation beat that starts from assignment of a loading manager to tracking whether the person is reaching on time and giving SOS alerts, then making sure that the person is using Happy Locate branded packing materials, which are very high quality packing material, including your 5 ply carton boxes, etc. And then also taking feedbacks at multiple stages from the customer, trying to read every stage and get our learnings and then improve on those learnings. And at the same, then making sure unloading manager getting assigned, unloading is happening proper. So every stage is what we track, and that's how we are able to ensure governance, and which converts into an experience, is what we do.
Right. No, so I think that's pretty much on point and important also, because when it comes to a service-based industry, customer experience matters a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it is online, offline, it actually matters. So uh, just a subsection of this current discussion also. Do you think all this uh, actually changed post-pandemic, when COVID happened? Do you think this entire framework of, because at that time this entire work from home thing started and people stopped going to office, so a lot of people who were working in, let's say, a Delhi NCR setup or a Mumbai or any metro city, they went back to their hometowns, and many of them are still there.
Yes.
They've actually shifted back entirely. You know, they
Correct.
shifted their base entirely to their hometown. So, see, do you think COVID played a role uh, in this transition also, from people getting used to using online services and looking for such services who are providing relocation to
I
them?
got your question. So definitely yes, I would say. In fact, if I look at my B2B side of it, um, we used to take a lot of effort in reaching out to people, asking them to use a digital way of managing their employee relocations. Post pandemic, the digital uh, acceptance went very high, largely with Indian companies, especially. What also happened is, like during COVID, when relocations were not happening, we came into laptop deliveries, which we call it asset relocation, and every company was doing the then. So we kept our clients engaged during that, and we covered every nook and corner. The remotest village of the country is what we covered, and we did that. And then we also mandated our corporates to use our enterprise tool to manage the asset relocation and asset delivery. It is different from a normal courier service because you have to pack and then again pick it up from your place and then deliver. And that is why a courier
Absolutely,
cannot do what is what a packer mover can do out here, and hence our
absolutely,
relevance. So we did that, and then that's exactly where the tool again adoption came into play, and a lot of enterprises started using the tool because they didn't have any other option and they wanted efficiency. And then just post pandemic, we saw, I think there was all the pent up demand which was there, and the whole world was relocating after. So suddenly the business grew post pandemic. And yes, even a lot of HR leaders were looking out for solutions which are digital. Not just HRs, in fact, there was a huge enthusiasm in admin and facility leaders, largely who are also involved in managing relocations. And that's where we saw definitely the demand going up. That's one. But more than COVID, otherwise also like with job switch frequency going 3x as compared to earlier, relocations are only bound to happen more. So that there's a growing market for us, and that's how I think we are only trying to make best use of the current demand and how the market reacts to it now.
Right. Right. So, uh, just taking a reference from your, few of your statements earlier, like when you talked about uh, Happy Locate uh, focusing more on uh, the organic side of digital marketing, as
Mhm.
well as focusing more on the customer experience side of it, rather than just relying on lead generation or on only focusing or emphasizing on lead generation. Uh, it also includes a huge chunk of its focus on customer experience. In fact, keeping that into the center of it. So, considering this, I wanted to know from you what exactly, when it comes to digital marketing, different aspects of it, which part is then the more in focus for you? Is it the SEO side of it, or the social media or content marketing side of it?
Sure, sure. So we're very content focused. Uh, we have a very content focused marketing approach, I would say, and less SEO and less. We do it definitely. We keep ourselves updated. We make sure that our plugins are updated. We make sure that our SEO efforts are in line with the normal updates that keep happening time to time. Those things happen, but a large focus is given on the content, and that is why if you see, we communicate a lot through our blogs. We choose consciously value-based topics, topics sensitizing people as to how to choose right packers movers, how to make sure that there are no damages, what to do 3 days prior to a relocation, uh, etc., etc. So it's more of value, which is what goes in our content, and that's what we choose largely. Second, again, if you look at the B2B side of it, there's a lot of email campaign that happens. A lot of webinars is what we do. Again, communicating with our target audience, our target customers is what we do more. And I'm sure it's coming to you as an information, but this is exactly what we communicate through emails and through creatives, through these sessions, webinars. And that's what we do largely to connect with our audience mostly.
Right. No, no, absolutely. It is actually coming to me as an information because, and I'm glad that we are doing this because I personally, am a kind of professional who, so I'm a content marketer myself. I've been in the field of content marketing for almost 8 years now, right?
Hmm.
But I always crave to get any kind of new information, new knowledge from any industry that I can tap into, because always go by that that thought process that no knowledge is low knowledge, right? You get knowledge from everywhere. It can be utilized in any form, anywhere. So it's always good. I find it always useful to talk to people, who are, who come from different backgrounds, who have something to share, some knowledge to share, some actually, different point of view for something that has been traditional, or has been followed up for years and years in a similar pattern, but they have a different point of view towards that particular thing. So I always look forward to having
Sure.
that. So before we end, Ajay, I just want to tap on the last thing and want to know your opinion on this. Where do you see the entire uh, industry, logistics industry, packers and movers industry going in the in the next, let's say, 5 years, 10 years? Considering you yourself agreed and mentioned that technology has played a massive role in change in putting this industry where it is right now, right? But since we know that technologies are on a massive scale, on a very rapid scale, they are changing and upgrading themselves, right? So we don't know what might hit us in the next 2 months, 3 months, 1 year time, right?
I understand.
uh, so where do you see this entire industry going in the next 5, 10 years?
I can talk about relocation industry, and then I can put some thoughts on logistics. I still feel I'm not probably qualified enough to talk about the larger logistics industry because that's huge. That's an ocean. But
I'll take that.
relocation definitely is my subject where I've done enough of research. So talking more about relocation, if I had to start with one, see these experiences, that go haywire on the ground. ये जो damage होता है, delay होता है, etc., etc., etc. There are a lot of reasons. If you look at largely, there are three pillars of relocation. One is your packing material, the other one is your transportation, and the third one is your quality of on-ground crew, what you called you blue collar workforce or labor. I don't call it a
Right.
labor. uh, my background as an HR doesn't allow me to do so, and I look at it as a skill. Hence,
Hmm.
these are the three pillars जिसपे सारा experience of relocation टिका हुआ है. If you look at
Right.
the packing material, now you know what happens today. Somebody will use a रद्दी वाला carton box. कोई जाएगा किसी वेस्ट से उठा ले आएगा उसको यूज कर लेगा. 2 ply carton boxes, 3 ply carton boxes. People will. This is what is used, and hence there is an experience compromise because वहाँ damages हो जाएंगे. Now, what we have done, we have standardized the packing material. We've done something that Oyo did when it was standardizing the experience of budget hotels. उसने चादर फिट्स स्टैंडर्डाइज कर दिया. ये पर्दे लगेंगे इस तरह के चादर इस तरह के तकिया लगेगा. That's exactly what we have done to packing. A lot of tools have to come into play because अभी भी इंडिया में लोग आप पीठ पे सामान उठा लेते हैं, कंधे पे सामान उठा लेते हैं, हाथ से उठा लेते हैं. These things, again, these are risky ways, and that's where damages happen again. A lot of tools are there to be used. This is something that we are now trying to bring into play, जिसके यूज करने से सेफ्टी लेवल्स मल्टीफोल्ड्स improve हो जाएंगे. And that is how the packing material, the right set of packing material with right set of tools will ensure at least damages reduce हो जाए. दूसरा है ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. अभी कोई कहीं से भी अपने जान पहचान से ट्रांसपोर्टेशन व्हीकल बुक कर लिया एक्सेट्रा. वी आर ट्राइंग टू इंटीग्रेट विद लॉजिस्टिक्स प्लेटफॉर्म्स so that even my partners can book fleets on my portal. So I'm creating an entire value system, ecosystem, and creating value for each stakeholder so that the entire seamless, the experience can be seamless, and that is something which the ecosystem can produce. So that is about transportation. The third most important is आपका on ground crew quality.
Hmm.
अब
True
इसमें
call.
क्या होता है when आप पैकर मूवर हो, आपका नोएडा में ऑफिस है, when you are relocating from नोएडा to say छत्तीसगढ़, you don't have an office in छत्तीसगढ़. What you will do, आप छत्तीसगढ़ पे जाओगे या तो वहाँ किसी और के ऊपर डिपेंड होगे, या आप छत्तीसगढ़ के किसी चौक या चौराहे से यू विल पिक अप दोज टेम्प ब्लू कॉलर वर्कफोर्स या जो लेबर अवेलेबल है वहाँ की, आप उसको उठा लेंगे और आप उसको लगा देंगे ना. वो बंदे आपका लुंगी में कच्छे में और वैसे आपके आके वो पैकिंग मूविंग कर रहे हैं आपके घर में घुस के. लॉट ऑफ पीपल डू नॉट लाइक इट टुडे. दिस इज, अब वो जो बंदा 1 घंटे के लिए या 5 घंटे के लिए जिसको लेकर आओगे वो क्या अकाउंटेबिलिटी लेगा, वो किस स्किल सेट के साथ आपका अनलोडिंग या अनपैकिंग करेगा. That is a major problem why this experience gets compromised. what happy locate is going to be the first one. Now that's my responsibility as an HR. मैं आज भी HR हूँ अंदर से. I always say that I've lived this profession for 13 years. Now I wanted to introduce a skill category as a loader and a packer. Give them the identity, give them training, and also give them professional identity largely. Make them wear uniforms so that when they come, they take accountability and they also come with the skill of how to do that job. So they are not just labor. That word is not anymore there. They are either loaders, they are packers, or they are supervisors. They're skilled staff. So we are coming up with standardized, certified uh, training, which is going to be both online and offline. We are already working on it, and we'll only make sure that certified crew is one who is able to do those moves. So I had to give you this background because to show you how 5 years look from the industry perspective, you need to understand what is it that contributes to where we want to go. So now, if you look at, I think bringing these new skill categories, bringing professionalism in the on-ground crew, bringing discipline, ensuring that SOPs built are also tracked through technology, making them as a part of their DNA. When we do all this, and then topped up by your platforms which make fleet booking easy, topped up by your packing materials, standardization of packing materials, using of tools, trolleys which make the loading, unloading easier. This is altogether is what is going to revolutionize and then actually transform the industry, what I'm talking about. More than that, again, with practices where using EV vehicles, coming out with reusable packing materials is something that's also going to make sure that no, we have pledged in fact ourselves that we are going to ensure zero single use of plastic by 2025. We have also pledged that we will have 20% women in the crew by 2025. So on our SDGs, which is our sustainable goals, is where also we have a responsibility, is what we have kept in mind. So 5 years, 10 years down the line, the moves are going to be a little cheaper, economic, but the efficiency is going to be way above, ensuring these things that I spoke about and ensuring these efficiencies are incorporated. And that's the direction that we are going. And I think then people would not be worried about "Oh, मेरा सामान अभी क्या हो गया अभी अगर आप आज की डेट में रिलोकेट करो हो सकता है सब कुछ चला है सारा सामान आपका और 3 महीने बाद आपको पता चलेगा यार आपका कुकर नहीं मिल रहा है now it's it's it is uh, very risky. It's very untraceable,
Unpredictable.
very unpredictable. You cannot trace it, and that's exactly a few things that we all are working towards. But largely, I think 2 years down the line, 2.5 years down the line, you see a complete transformation in the industry. Is how I visualize, especially.
Right. Right. No, that's great. That's great, Ajay. And thanks a lot for all the inputs that you have shared today. I'm I'm sure, because for me personally, this has been, full of new information, new angle to look at, and something that because I think logistics and movers and packers, this 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 segment, I have not really, touch based ever. So it actually gave me a different perspective. I mean, if I start thinking from a marketer's point of view, like for example, if someone who's listening to this episode right now and who works in such an industry and must be looking for their next campaign, I'm sure they must have got some new angle to look at, some new inputs to look at. So
Absolutely.
from that point of view, I'm really sure that your inputs might have helped someone somewhere, maybe your competitors also. I don't know, uh, but that's what the beauty of open communication is. You know. So, but all said and done, thanks a lot, Ajay. It was really nice to connect with you on this. I really appreciate you giving out your time once again. Thank you for
Same
tuning in.
here. Likewise. Thank you very much, Piyush, for having me here. Thank you so much, in fact. It was
Thank
great
you.
talking
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you for tuning in. If you like the podcast, please do subscribe to my channel on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast.